guys, and welcome to my November monthly chat video. I always love doing these videos because I feel like I can just relax and talk to you guys about like my favorite shows and stuff like that. And I just absolutely love, kind of just these videos in general. Sorry about the weird lighting. I don't know what's going on with the sunlight right now, but sorry. Okay, so for the first part of this video, I'm actually just going to talk about my channel for a little bit. I actually got a question that was kind of a general channel question, so I thought that I would talk to you guys a little bit about that. I don't have a ton of shows to cover, so I think this is a good monthly chat to do this in. Okay, so Sean, I'm going to butcher this. Houghton sounds maybe right. I don't know. Let me know. Asks, as a general question, you put out a lot of content. There seems to be something just about every day. You seem to be enjoying doing it though. How often or how much feels like a chore or an obligation to your viewers? Oh, that's a loaded question because it's definitely, it goes back and forth sometimes, depending. I do something for my channel every day of my life. I wake up and I do something for my channel. I have gotten to the point where right now I do, I have 2 days off a week from filming, not from editing or uploading or taking notes for chats and, things like that. Sometimes it turns into one if things get a little hectic. One day where I don't film. But in general, I try to give myself 2 days off a week, which that was kind of something new that I've kind of just implemented this year because I was like starting to burn out a little bit, I think. And I know that it doesn't seem like a lot to just like sit on a couch and watch, but there is a certain amount of, Lord, I don't even know how to explain it, but like when you guys are watching an episode of something, try to just like be very aware of everything that you're thinking. I mean, obviously you probably don't talk during it, especially if you're by yourself, but you have to be very aware of what you're saying, especially if it's a full reaction. If I yawn, I feel horrible because somebody really wanted to see that full reaction. And by the way, I yawn a lot with my allergies because if you can't breathe through your nose, it's more likely, like yawning is triggered by breathing and stuff. So anyway, so half of the time that I do actually yawn, I'm not bored or anything, but it's like I want to make sure that I'm attentive, that I'm paying attention to everything as much as there's not, so whenever I get those some weeks where I don't have a full reaction, I get kind of excited. I'm like, oh, I can kind of just sit and not really be so, but it's work. At this point, it is my job that I thoroughly enjoy. That's basically kind of how I look at it. Even when I do have days off, I'm always constantly trying to think of new things and come up with new ideas and see. I have like a huge notebook filled with just ideas of either future shows to react to, future series to do, either on YouTube and or Patreon, all sorts of different stuff. So it's a bit of an addiction, I think, in a good way. And I love doing this stuff, but yeah, I don't really have a ton of time to just sort of relax. And part of me, every so often, I'll get into that kind of mode where it's like, God, I just want to sit and not, like for a full day, wake up and not give a about my channel and then, go to bed. Like do whatever during the day. Even on Thanksgiving, I woke up extra early to record a couple of things before I headed out the door for like a 2-hour drive. So yeah, it go, you know, honestly, a lot of the times, if I have a few shows at one given time that I'm not thrilled about, you know, I don't really watch anything that I hate. I don't think I've ever, even though I was not the biggest fan of like Westworld, if you guys saw my Westworld reactions, I just was like kind of a blank stare through it. Not that Westworld isn't good, by the way. It's just that I've seen so many things that are exactly like it. I don't understand the whole everybody thinks it's so original, because it's not. Anyway, I think that, like, you know, so I don't ever really react to anything that I hate, you know. But there are things that I'm not as enthusiastic about. And if I have a few shows like that within one cycle, and I can't really plan exactly when I do certain shows or whatever, because, you know, it's up to TV schedules. It's not really up to me. If I have a couple of shows that I'm like, it's okay, but it's not my favorite or whatever, it starts to be a little trying. It starts to seem a little bit more like work. I try to do a healthy balance of things that I particularly really want to see, and then, you know, things that, you know, people have suggested and stuff, and, you know, but every so often I'll get to the point where there's a couple of shows that sometimes feels like work, because it's just like, God, I don't want to sit and watch another fill in the blank. Yeah. That'll happen sometimes. Like this month coming up, I'm so excited about, because it's like a bunch of my favorite shows. I'm really excited about all the Doctor Who stuff, though. I think by the time tomorrow comes up, so December 1st, I'm gonna have about 20 of the 31 videos filmed, something close to that. So, you know, I've done a lot of it already, but you know, like, I'm excited for Doctor Who December. I'm excited for, I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., my favorite Marvel show. I'm so excited for The Punisher. Probably going to be my favorite Marvel Netflix show, I would assume. I love Stranger Things. They've been knocking it out of the park. And obviously, The Walking Dead is like, it's my favorite show of all time. So, you know, like, I am so excited for it, and that doesn't seem like work. Like, I feel like I'm on a bit of a high for December. I'm so excited to get into it, and everything that I'm going to be watching I'm probably going to love. You know, there might be an episode or two that's not my absolute favorite, but, you know, so whenever I get into kind of, you know, certain shows that I like but I don't love, it does seem to be like, oh God, and you know, a little bit. But that happens, I think, with anything. I'm very fortunate to have been able to create my channel and make my channel, and though my circumstances of why I'm able to put so much time into my channel with, you know, being kind of by myself, and I don't, you know, my husband's deployed, all of that stuff is not the best circumstances, but that is a good thing that comes out of it. I get to just focus on this. I get to do kind of fun things like Doctor Who December and put all of my effort into it, and not really, sorry, I'm adjusting myself, and really try to come up with content that I really love and that hopefully you guys will love as well. I really never thought that my life would kind of come in, like, go into this turn, but at this moment, and I never, when I started my channel, I never said, oh, I'm gonna make this a thing. This is just gonna be something that I do when I have time in between wedding planning gigs. And then I just moved so often and to places that don't really have a wedding planning industry, that this sort of, and I've gotten a lot of cool opportunities with this, with my channel, that I've kind of said to myself, I'm gonna try to make this the main thing of my life. And I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do that, in that sense. Yeah. So that's kind of an answer to your question. I mean, the thing is I love doing it. I absolutely, like, at the end of the day, I absolutely love doing all this stuff with my channel. I don't, but I also recognize that, I mean, it's a lot of hard work. A lot of things that I do, a lot of my whole process is a lot, and I'm working on it constantly. This isn't something where I flip on my camera for like a couple hours on a Saturday, and then I edit and I upload and done. This is like my life, and it's very important to me. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that that's kind of the best way for me to explain that. So yeah, sometimes it does feel like work. Sometimes it does feel like, and yes, I do feel an obligation to get things out at a certain time. I have taken a break. I took a break earlier this year. I was dealing with some personal issues, and I made an announcement that I'm going to take a break and whatever. But I'm not one to constantly take breaks. There have been some weeks where I have been going through some shit. I have not been feeling great, but I was like, it doesn't matter. You got to get the stuff out. You got to do it. You got to just buck up. Not one to kind of just say like, oh, I'm just not going to film this week because I'm not feeling well. Should I? I mean, maybe, probably better for my mental health, but, no. So in that sense, a couple of times it does feel like an obligation, but I much prefer powering through and getting everything out that I need to get out. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so let's just get into this. I have only 4 shows to talk about. So I'm going to start with Black Mirror because I feel like Black Mirror is just, kind of neared its end, so to speak. At least for now. I think I only have 1 question for Black Mirror, so I'm going to start with, start with that, and then move on. Okay, Black Mirror, I did not know season 4 was coming out so soon, so thanks for the good news. Okay. This is from Dave Hampton, by the way. I am going to cheat and not ask about 304 and instead ask which picture you saw in the season 4 promo stuff that got you so excited. Again, you can skip answer if you think it'll be spoilery. Okay, so the thing that I'm really excited about is whatever episode is like Star Trek-y, that vibe, and it looks like Landry, oh god, Jesse Plemons, I have to think about his name, is going to be like the captain, who I'm obsessed with him and I love him, and Friday Night Lights is my jam. Friday Night Lights is probably one of the shows that you guys have no idea how much I love. It's one of those TV shows that I can rewatch. It is amazing. If I ever need a pick-me-up, if I ever need to feel motivated about something, Coach Eric Taylor never lets me down. Anyway, so anybody from that show kind of branching out and stuff, I'm always like, oh my god. And just because it kind of looks Star Trek-y, I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's going to be experimental and kind of weird, but I'm really excited about it. So, I did kind of talk about episode 4, San Junipero, did I say that right? And in the last one where I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like the best thing in the world. My kind of how I felt about it, which was I think the exact opposite of what most people thought about it, was that I thought that I think it would have been more touching if she died. Which I know is not the popular opinion. I mean, that should be like my channel tagline. She has very unpopular opinions, because I swear. But it just, to me, that's just how I felt about it. When she started talking about her husband, and I'm forgetting her name, so I'm sorry. It was a little while ago when I watched it. I was just like, oh my God, this girl. I mean, honestly, it just broke my heart. And the fact that the husband didn't really want to go, if his daughter couldn't, that got me so bad. Oh God, they're shooting artillery. I don't know if you can hear that, probably not, but it's annoying to me. The whole house shakes. Anyway. And so, you know, I mean, I think that like, I think I would have thought it was a much more emotional thing if she decided to. But hey, you know, I mean, I felt really bad for the other girl, but I felt like they just met each other. It was just so very, I don't know. I just, you know, did not think of it as this like absolutely amazingly beautiful love story, as a lot of people did. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was cute. I thought it was nice. I liked the tech in it, or the, you know, I loved that concept. That was really cool. But yeah, just say, I mean, that's just kind of my opinion on that. Episode 5, Men Against Fire. Great concept. I think not executed as well. Not terrible, not great. You know, I mean, I don't think it would, I mean, it's just, I felt like it was slightly on the forgettable side, with a lot of the, episodes that we've had this season, or just in general. But that doesn't mean it was bad, because I think an okay Black Mirror episode kind of still holds up with a lot of, my friend's cousin was in it, so that was interesting. Which is the only one that my friend Danielle has seen, I think, of Black Mirror. Maybe not, but I texted her and I was like, oh, I just reacted to something that Maddie was in. That's what they call her. And she was like, it was just funny, because she was just like, oh yeah, I watched that and it was really weird. And like, it just sounded like she hasn't seen any sort of like Black Mirror episodes before. But anyway, but I thought it was okay. I felt really bad for the guy. I was confused by the ending. I think I'm still confused by the ending. I still think I don't entirely understand what the fuck is going on with the ending of that episode. But in general, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. But it just did not stand out. Episode 6, I loved so much. I loved it. My favorite episodes of this season was the first one and the last one. Both I loved, and neither were fulls, or like voted on for fulls. For those of you who are not on that tier, the full reactions were 3 and 4, and I did like a surprise one for 2. But yeah, it was just so, I just absolutely loved the idea. I was captivated for like an hour and a half, and an hour and a half episodes sometimes for me are a little tough to get through. They're long, and especially when you're reacting and you have to kind of be attentive and it was the whole time. And like even my movie reactions, I tend to take just like a couple second. I don't take that long of breaks in between my parts for movie reactions, but I take a second, I walk around, and I'm just an antsy person, so I feel like sitting that long just doesn't work out for me as well. But I was captivated, and I was into it for like the long haul. I loved the characters. I loved the idea of it was so fucking terrifying. So fucking terrifying. I mean, bravo. I loved it. One of my favorites of the entire show. And I just thought that it was just so crazy. And I loved that they took that idea of people who wish death on people. And people do this all the time. Maybe not death, I don't know. But I will scroll around Twitter, and some of the people that I follow on Twitter and some of my friends, and I'm not going to name names, but they're younger. Maybe they just don't think about, I don't know, maybe that's just how they believe, because I know plenty of people who do things like this. It's just not it's difficult for me. It's not my thing. But like, no matter what, I can't imagine myself literally wishing death upon somebody. Even if it's a tweet and means, in the grand scheme of things, means probably nothing. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's just because I put myself out there and I've gotten people who have wished death upon me. It's always nice to hear from the fans. I had this one guy, just an FYI of like, I had this one guy, and this was years ago. This was when I first started my channel. It was closer to the beginning of me starting my channel to the end. And he, like, literally contacted me on any social media that he could, which even then I didn't share a ton of my social media. I had like a Twitter and then like an Instagram, but I don't even know if they were linked up. Like, this guy did some research to find me and like tell me that he wanted to like beat my head in and stuff like that. And it was very trolly. I wasn't super concerned that he was going to find me and beat my head in. Still, I just don't know what goes through some people's heads to think that it's like why is that what you're spending your time on? Even if I dislike somebody, a celebrity, or, I'm human. There's some people that I'm not entirely too fond of, or if somebody's done something horrible, all of this like sexual misconduct stuff is coming out is crazy. I never feel the need to say I want them to die. That's never something I tend to not really want to put out negative things out there. Anyway, I try very, very hard with my channel to keep everything really light and happy, which I have gotten criticized about slightly in the past. Well, people are like, you should kind of take a stance on things that you believe in and stuff, and I think that I think some things that are really important to me, you guys know where I stand on that. But I don't like making a big to-do about a controversial issue, because there's so much horrible things in the world that I don't feel the need to contribute that and to spur people on to yell at each other in the comment section of my videos. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't want to encourage that. I want to encourage us all helping each other. I want to encourage a happier atmosphere. Because the internet is getting so dark, and it's always been like that, but you know what I mean. Like, I mean, it's really getting bad. And I know that I can't do much, but that's what I want to do. That doesn't mean that I don't have opinions on things. That doesn't mean that I don't vote in elections and, try to make my voice known with that. There may be some things that I do like to speak out on, but for the most part, I try to keep everything really nice. Anyway, that was a tangent for no reason. But anyway, I loved that they took this idea of you yourself. I felt really bad for that cop who just tweeted that just to get at, oh God. But that when you do this thing, and again, it might just hit close to home for me, where you do this thing, where you go, I hope you die, or whatever. You write it. You're anonymous. Nobody can think that you're a terrible person for writing that. You can write it and then you move on with your day. Whereas the person who's getting affected by that is really getting affected by that terribly. whether or not they did something wrong, that's, you know, because that's all opinions and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? And then that they targeted the people who did that, who kind of stooped to that level, which I do not believe that they should die. The moral of the story is I don't believe that, you know, people should die. But I think that, like, it was so interesting to kind of have that, and then it to be this kind of horrible realization. And the tables got a bit turned. You know, there were some things, of the examples of what the people did, where the rapper was, like, making fun of the kid who was dancing, which is a terrible thing to do. The girl who she, like, defaced or whatever she did to, like, a memorial, like a war memorial, was that was, or Holocaust, I forget what it was. Horrible. All of these things are horrible. And it's a fine line between, you know, letting them know that what they did is not okay and horrible, and do you know what I mean? It's interesting. You guys can let me know how you feel about that. Is it okay to kind of put that out there and maybe not wish death upon somebody, but really call them out and call them scum and whatever? Or, you know, just let me know what you guys think about that. But anyway, I went on such a tangent with this, but I really, really loved that episode a lot. Maybe because it hit home. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to move on to Stranger Things, which is episodes 1 through 4. Woo! I'm so excited. I mean, I love Stranger Things so much. It's just been so good. And I have not seen any more. I know that it seems kind of like forever since I'm actually recording that tomorrow. I will be doing episodes 5 and 6 tomorrow. But, so I haven't seen it. So, you know. But, 1 through 4, things that I want to talk about. I'm just making sure. Okay, so Stranger Things, Dave Hampton, I think, has a question. I'm just making sure that... So does Dave Ford. Okay. Sorry, just checking. So Dave Ford asks, I'm enjoying this season even more than the last one. I would probably agree with that, though I really like the first season as well. It says, what's your favorite aspects of the new season? Will is number 1 so far. Of course, I've only seen the first 4 episodes, but Will, number 1. Acting on point, the story on point. I don't really even know what's going on, like, with him, but I'm just so excited. He seems possessed or something, or whatever. I'm not really sure what, but yeah, he seems like not like okay. So I love, that's number 1. I like Hopper and Eleven's relationship, and I hope that that continues to grow as the season kind of progresses. I love Lucas. I always love Lucas. I think I'm about to do a whole spiel on why I love Lucas, because people give me shit for that all the time, and I think he's the only one with fucking sense. Anyway, sorry, not to be aggressive, but I love Lucas. I like that we're getting more into the Upside Down, and from what I've seen, I mean, and getting more into what is actually going on. And I think Stranger Things is doing a great job of pacing with that, by the way, where they showed us enough in the first season. Not everything, but enough. But the whole sole focus on the first season was getting, like, Will and Barb back. It wasn't really, let's figure out what's going on. I mean, though we always had that in the back of our head, I felt like it was so cool to sort of, they did that and they used that plot device, so that's what we solely cared about. But now we're a little bit more like, okay, what is actually going on, and what's going on with Eleven and all of this. I know that Max is I think Dave's question. So I'm going to go into Dave's question just really quick. In 202, when Mad Max jumped out in her costume on a Halloween, did it scare you? You have said you are not sure about her, but I forgot if you said why. Can you elaborate on her a bit? What nostalgia are you picking up on or enjoying? Well, the ending of, I think it was the second episode with the Ghostbusters coming in, that was one of the best with nostalgia. Though I wasn't alive too much in the 80s. But, you know, I've seen these movies and stuff. I will say, I mean, I was born in 88, so do the math. But yeah, like, it still was stuff that I would watch, like, all through, like, growing up and stuff, some of these things. So that's really, really cool. It does remind me of The Americans sometimes, especially the Nancy and Jonathan stuff. I, like, feel like it's Philip and Elizabeth, and, like, when they're younger or something. It's just so weird. Kind of the same vibe, if you ask me. Yeah, so I really, really have enjoyed that stuff. So Max. So going into Max, I feel bad for her. And I don't really know where this is going. I have no idea, but part of me thinks that there's a point to everybody kind of saying, like, you know, girl, we can't really, you know, include you in on this super secret stuff. Right. I mean, they've gone through so much together, and, you know, some real serious shit is going on with Will, and things with that dumb fucking creature Polly-Wog, Dustin. Anyway, but, you know, like, there's all this stuff going on, and they can't really just bring in somebody that they don't know and possibly don't trust and whatever. The issue that I have, or the way that I feel bad for her, is the fact that she's getting, like, such mixed signals from this group of friends. Now, Dustin and Lucas are both kind of all for her, maybe because they have a crush on her, but maybe they actually just think that she's cool as well. You know, you know, they're really trying to, like, get her included and whatever, and then, you know, she has Mike, at least he admitted it. I like that he was like, I just don't like you. Like, you know, Mike is going through some shit right now. He is going through some emotional turmoil. Will is really going through some shit. Like, if anybody's going through some, like, actual serious shit, that's Will. But Mike is also kind of going through a lot of kind of emotional scarring thing. And I don't think it's his fault, but he is kind of, like, being rude to her. And so she's getting kind of pulled back and forth. And when her home life seems to be with a psychopath of an older brother, I don't know about the rest of her family. I have no idea what's going on with that. But you know what I mean? Like, I think she might, even though she can't really come out right and say it, she can't really come out and be like, you know, I really want to be your friends or whatever, because I think she's kind of been hardened a lot as a child. But I think she might actually be searching for something that's slightly different from her psycho brother / maybe family. And so that makes me feel bad. And it just makes me... I love the way, I gotta say, I do love the way that, at least up until this point, that Lucas is handling it, though. Because, you know, Lucas is the best and he's my favorite and I love him. But, like, the fact that he is trying to be honest with her and say, you know, some stuff is going on, like in that last kind of scene that I saw him in episode 4, I believe it was, that where he kind of talked to her and he said, you know, there's just some stuff that you know, whatever. He's being honest with her, but he's also trying to let her know that, like, I actually do want to be your friend, or more. I mean, I don't know. He seems to be really into it. But, you know, like, I think that, you know, I like that he's trying to handle it the best way that he can when it comes to that, because it's like, are they not allowed to have any friends that aren't, you know, in the know and stuff? And you know, I think he got this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm just going to say it anyway, because it's how I genuinely feel. I think he got a lot of shit last year about the whole not really accepting Eleven, because he didn't trust her. And then he kind of came around, and for it to kind of happen back to him, I don't know, you can either see it as karma, or you can see it as like, all right, Mike, well, I mean, isn't it kind of the same? It's not entirely the same situation, but you know what I mean? It's kind of a back and forth with that. And I think, yeah, I think they should keep her at an arm's length until they know that they can actually genuinely trust her when it comes to all of this stuff. But when it comes to just going trick-or-treating for Halloween, you know, just enjoy yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, Lucas. I'm just going to talk about Lucas because he's my favorite. I also really like Hopper. Those two are kind of my top two. But Lucas, why he's my favorite, because every single person that I've talked to, and let me know down below who's your favorite kid, but most people that I talk to like Eleven, they like Mike, they like Will, or they like Dustin. I'm like the only one who's like obsessed with Lucas. The reason why is that for me, especially in the last season, because he was my favorite in the last season too, Will went missing. And everybody was into finding Will. Lucas never lost sight of that. He was untrusting of Eleven. Now, we as viewers probably knew that Eleven was probably a good kid and just troubled and whatever. But the thing is that, you know, with that moment where they had the big fight in season 1, where Lucas kind of said, you know, where he was like, she's making the compass go, you know. A lot of people are like, why is he so distrustful of her? Well, she was. I mean, that was a fact. She was doing that. Now, he probably can be a bit better with his approach of how he talks about things, and they got over it, and it was really sweet, and I love it, and I love that him and Eleven kind of ended up having a nice friendship after the whole bathtub thing where he was putting and hugging her. Oh my god, it made me feel so many things. Anyway, but you know, but I don't think that it was entirely fair to give Lucas so much shit for being skeptical, because he's like, we don't know her like that. Like, we don't really know her like that. And all I know right now is like the compass is getting all fucky and her nose is bleeding. Girl, what are you doing? You know, that's just, you know, how I feel about that. And then it turned into this whole big thing and whatever. And then, like, you know, I was hashtag Team Lucas, and apparently that was the wrong side to be on. But anyway, you know, that's just how I feel about that. I don't really think, and I love that he is always just like down to business. And I love that he karate kicks that door. It's like my favorite thing. But like, I like that he really is kind of no nonsense. And I am very interested to see what Lucas is going to feel about Dustin not. I said that in my reaction, that I'm like, oh, he's probably not going to be happy about being kept in the dark, that Dustin actually knows where, but of course Dustin just lost his cat, so that's probably pretty sad. Dustin, what are you doing? Anyway, but yeah, so I mean, that's kind of the reason that I kind of love Lucas. He kind of just gets down to business, and I think he genuinely deeply cares for everybody. And I think he was, when he got upset with Eleven in the last season in that kind of fight, he was just frustrated because he's like, we have so many things that we're trying to accomplish. I can't deal with your fuckery right now. That's how I feel about that. Anyway. See, these chats are like completely uncensored. I would never say that in like a reaction because I would get eaten alive by like comments. Anyway, What else? I love that they're handling PTSD pretty well with Will and Joyce and all of that. I just really like that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Doctor Who. So I have a lot of questions when it comes to that. Just checking. Okay. So Dave Ford asks, did you have any idea that John Hurt was in Doctor Who at all? Yes. If so, any idea or who or what he was, or perhaps why and when is a better question. No, I had no idea. The thing is when he died, I saw things like Doctor Who alum or something like that, just passed away or whatever. So I knew he was in it, but I had no idea when, what, why, how, what the fuck. But I don't know him like that. Everybody's saying that he's just such a legend, and I feel like other than Alien? He was an alien, right? He was yeah, I thought. Maybe I made that up. But, I don't really know him for that much. I don't think. Maybe I do and I'm just not remembering. But it's not like a person that, like, I was like, oh my god, it's John Hurt. Like, that was just not my thing. But I did know that he, when he passed away, they kind of mentioned that he was in Doctor Who. I saw some things about that, but I didn't know, there was no, like, of who he was in Doctor Who or anything like that. So that's going to be kind of interesting to actually see what is going on with that. So I'm excited. I don't know what is going on, and again, I'm not speculating, though you might have some questions. There might be some questions related to it, but I just recorded the Discussing Who podcast, which I believe is actually going to be out today. So go check that out. But I think they asked, or Kyle, who interviewed me, he asked, or he kind of just sort of said, what do you think? And I was like, I try not to speculate. I used to be so into speculating, and now I just like to go for the ride. It just makes for better reactions, and people enjoy it better. So I try not to think about it. But it's really interesting. I'm kind of excited. Yeah. So I mean, he's got to be somebody from the past, right? Or is it a future? I don't know. I'm not gonna really try to speculate too much. So Anna asks, I just have one question for this month. What are your thoughts on Clara now that you've seen her evolve throughout the season and risk her life for the Doctor? Okay, so I think I talked about it a little bit in my review, which was up yesterday, I think. What a mess. I'm just shooting everything so out of order and whatever. But so I like Clara. She's not like of my top favorite companions yet. She might get there. But I like her. She just didn't captivate me like some other companions have in the past, with Amy, Rory, Donna. I would put her kind of on par with how I loved Martha. About there so far, and we'll see if she surpasses or maybe falls flat. I have no idea. I loved the last episode, though. I loved Name of the Doctor, and kind of really going into that and kind of seeing what she did and how she, as soon as it kind of, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna go in and that's what's gonna happen, and it's gonna be kind of crazy. But I love that was the explanation. I thought it was really satisfying. You guys can let me know how you guys felt. It's so funny because sometimes I feel like I watch something and I'm not, I'm not changing my opinion or anything to, make people feel, obviously. I like all of the episodes that people are like, that was the worst thing I've ever watched in my life. And I'm like, wow, I loved it. didn't you guys love it? And everybody's like, no, this was the worst thing that we've ever seen in our life. What are you talking about, Jess? I mean, that's literally how I feel about a lot of Doctor Who episodes. But so let me know what you guys thought about that explanation, if you thought that that was like a satisfying. I thought it really was, but let me know. So I thought it was really cool to see that and to see her with all the doctors. It was such a great sequence, especially I feel like leading up to the 50th anniversary. So amazing. And I do know I don't know much of the personalities of the classic doctors, but I do know who they are and what they look like. Does that make sense? Like, I know who is who and stuff like that. And, you know, I do plan on delving into classic Who, so at some point, so I'll get there. Yeah, but I like Clara. I like that she seems to have a very, in Cold War, that she had a very human, that was probably one of my favorite moments with her, just a very human reaction to seeing the dead bodies, and that it's not all puppies and kittens when you go scouring the universe. I mean, I've always said, like, if I was a companion, I'd be like, fuck no, but that's like legit. Some of these things that they cover in the show now, they don't go too dark. And I hope you know what I mean by that. It's not that they don't ever go to dark places or whatever, but sometimes it's like they don't go that bad. You know what I mean? Like, they don't go that crazy when it comes to, because I think there is still an element of it being kind of viewed by families, and it's not a kid's show, but you know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna be showing some really gruesome shit or I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like maybe like a horrible rape or something. I feel like that's just, there's some things, some lines that they don't cross. However, there are some truly terrifying things and some horrible things out in this great wide world. And it's always like, come with the doctor. It's so majestic and wonderful. La. And it's like, some of these things are really horrible that they have to watch. And I do like watch or live, depending. I do like that Clara had that kind of really human reaction to that and not really being okay with it, which is just, says a lot to her character, that she kind of had this sort of, I'm hesitant, I don't know what's going on, and then at the end she literally goes into and basically gives up her life, sacrifices her life to save the doctor. And she kind of has this moment of like, this is bigger than me, this is more important than, you know, anything than for me. Do you get what I'm saying? So I really loved that, and I hope that we get to explore a bit more of that later on. So anyway, yeah, that's how I feel about Clara. Let me just make sure that there's no more in the way of, oh, no. Okay, so Firefly 24601 has a few questions. So Doctor Who 710, what was your going theory about what the monsters were? That was Hyde, right? I don't know if I had a theory. I was enjoying the spookiness of it all. It was kind of fun to kind of, you know, watch the kind of the scariness. So I can tell you guys what I thought of the episode. This is not about the monsters, but about Clara. I thought we were going to find out that Clara was the same as the woman who had kind of like that psychic ability. I thought we were gonna, or empathic, I think it was. I thought that we were gonna find out that Clara was similar, which didn't happen. So I mean, that was my theory though, because I thought it would be interesting that I was kind of the mind that I felt like Clara, there was more to her story, and that she was kind of a unique person, and there's an interesting about but that didn't really pan out. But it was kind of interesting because I was waiting for that to sort of, you know, when she couldn't really keep that vortex thing open, I thought Clara was going to step in and do it and be able to do it. But yeah, anyway, that didn't happen, but that was kind of my theory with that. So I was kind of focusing on that more than I was focusing about the monsters, but I absolutely loved that it was just a love story and it was super cute. And it felt so 11 to me. So sweet. I just loved it. Okay, so for 7-11, which is the Crimson Horror, how fantastic were all of the outfits in the episode? I mean, I was like I loved Jenny, could get it. Vastra can get it. They have great fashion. I love those too. Such a fun episode though. I really, really loved like the whole concept, and I thought it was really fun. I love that gang, that the Paternosters, that how you say it, gang. I just love them so much. I just think that they're great and they're really, really fun, and I hope that we see so much more of them. I can't even tell you. 7-12, how did you like the evil doctor? Also, what do you make of Clara's instant skills at commanding troops with relative comfort? How do I like the evil doctor? I loved the evil doctor. I loved Matt's performance in that episode. It was what really sold the episode on me. Was it my absolute favorite of the season? Probably not, but I still really enjoyed it and I thought it was really, really cool. Clara's instant skills at commanding troops with relative comfort, I thought that was kind of bizarre. I love that they did that thing where they had to sign out the thing, because that's so real about in military life. You have to sign out your life, and it was just really funny. I'm not the biggest fan of companions or people who don't hold an office and or military rank giving orders to soldiers and then getting pissed when the soldiers don't obey their commands and stuff. I know it was just this not my favorite thing to watch. I think because I know kind of a lot of the hard work that it takes to actually up your rank and stuff in the soldiers in military, that sometimes it makes me slightly uncomfortable when there was this one, it was the two-parter that shall not be named because I fucking like the amount of hate that I got for that. But it was the one where, no, was it the Doctor Star? I don't know, but there was one where it was like the soldier like saluted Donna and I love Donna. Donna's my girl, but she was like, she wanted to be saluted, or like it was just something like that. And I rolled my eyes or whatever. And everybody thought that I was like upset that the soldier was saluting a woman. Like they thought it was a sexist thing. I'm like, no, it's a non-military thing. Why the fuck? I don't go around to random soldiers and say, salute me. Like, who does that? Anyway, not to go on a rant about that. I do like that Clara sort of kind of like adapts to different situations and stuff. I like that a lot. And I like that she's really very good at that. But I do feel like I need more to really have a great judgment on whether or not I love Clara, or maybe not, or I don't know. I really liked the name of the Doctor, so we're gonna see as time goes on. But she's kind of just middle of the road for me right now. That's just where she lies. And 7-13, now that you had time to think about it, what do you think the John Hurt reveal? Yeah, see? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's a doctor of some kind, probably from the past, I would assume. I think more so than a future. But I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. So this is obviously kind of weird to do like a monthly chat. I wanted to make sure that I answered your questions, which I think I got all of them in regards to Doctor Who. But I, you know, yes. So, I literally released the review yesterday, where I really go in depth of everything. I said it was the longest review that I've ever done for Doctor Who. So, you know, obviously go check that out if you know, want more on that. But I would just be restating a bunch of stuff if I really went into that. So every so often with the Doctor Who, that's going to happen. When it overlaps like so perfectly as like this did. So yeah, I'm going to now move on to The Walking Dead, which is just my favorite. So we have 802 all the way to 806. I have so much to say. I've covered a lot in my weekly chats as well, but I can say more. Unlike a lot of the, you know, the other shows that I do, I can just keep talking about The Walking Dead forever. So we have Dave Hampton asks, The Walking Dead, you knew, okay, suspected about Shiva this whole time and did not say anything, even though I kept saying I was worried about her with all of the guns around. Bravo and thank you. Guess you had practice from talk about her with your mom. My question is, how do you think Ezekiel, is it still King Ezekiel, will handle this? You cannot answer this if you think college book. No, I'm not gonna talk about college book or college book, comic book. Knowledge will spoil it, but yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that stuff that I know, because there are differences, and you know, but I'm not going to, so I don't even know. The thing is that for me, I knew that Shiva was not long for this world because of just the sheer fact, sorry, again, I'm situating myself, just because of the sheer fact that like Shiva is just so expensive, and we have a war, we have a lot of actors to pay. I mean, people are going to start dropping like flies soon, I think, because it's just ridiculous the amount of cast members that we have in the Saviors camp, the amount of cast members that we have in the Kingdom, although that budgeted by out the window. You know, at the Hilltop, at Alexandria, we have, and in the core group, it's just so many actors that they need to pay. And you can tell that there were some things last season that were budgetary, not the best green screen. Rick on top of that stuff. I don't give too many shits about that, by the way. And then Rick with the deer and whatever, and it was pretty, because a lot of their budget had to go to Shiva. And, you know, so not only, yeah, it happens in the comics, but just, you know, budgeting for the show. I felt like it was almost time, and I was ready. Like, I was ready to say goodbye, so I did not lose it as much as I think other people did, just because I was mentally preparing myself for a long time. For some things, it doesn't matter if I mentally prepare myself. I suspected it was going to be Glenn in the season 7 premiere, and I still lost it. So with Shiva, you know, I was just like, I'm not going to get attached, because I knew that she died in the comics, and I knew that they probably couldn't keep her a long time. So she was cute and sweet, and I loved her, but distance for that. But yeah, and about the whole budgeting thing, like, I loved that it was one of these Talking Deads recently that Scott Gimple kind of said some about Game of Thrones, and I loved it. I was like, yes, queen, talk. Here's the thing, like, Walking Dead all day for me. I mean, I love Game of Thrones, but I don't, not to give spoilers if you don't watch Game of Thrones, I'm not gonna, but I just don't even, I feel like I'm about to give up, genuinely and truly. Anyway, but Scott Gimple said something to the effect of, like, you know, the budget for HBO shows and Game of Thrones is so big, and the fact that we always get compared to Game of Thrones is so fucking ridiculous. He didn't say this word for word. I'm kind of ranting, and you know, but he did say, he was just like, they, you know, the amount of time that we get to be able to shoot a whole episode is you know, the same time that they get to like shoot like one scene where, you know, Daenerys is talking to Jon for a couple minutes. And, you know, so it can take them years, and they have unlimited budget for CGI and all that stuff, and it looks really cool. But it's like, you got to kind of work with what you got. And I've always felt that way, where people always compare the two and be like, well, Game of Thrones just looks more. And I could give a shit about how beautiful the CGI looks. Like, sometimes if it's really bad, it takes you out of the story. That is absolutely a true story. But like a fact, but like you get it. You know what's happening. I care more about really fleshed out and great characters, and not sidelining the ones that are really, really amazing for the boring ones to be the stars of the show. That's my Game of Thrones shade for you. And moving on to just Walking Dead. So I think, so the question is, how do you think Ezekiel will handle this? You cannot answer this if you, though, right. Okay, so I think, so Ezekiel's interesting on the show. He's a little different. And I think the number one thing that is different is Carol being in the mix. And Carol really, you know, at this point, I mean, comic book spoilers, if you don't, like, just skip over this one little part. Carol's super dead in the comics. She dies very, like, it's a very memorable death, and I keep thinking that they're going to do it with somebody, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be Carol. Maybe they will. I don't know. But, so she's not even relevant in All Out War. And here for Carol, I think it's interesting for her to kind of, and that they bonded over this whole fact of you know, playing the part. And they talked about that in the last episode a lot, and I loved that scene a lot, where they kind of, she was kind of like, you need to just lie until you're fine. And that's just how you do it. You know, if you go back to like Consumed and stuff like that, you can kind of see that this whole thing is kind of, you know, it got to her a lot, but eventually she kind of got okay with it. She's gone through quite a journey within even just the last few seasons. I'm not even talking about the whole show, but at post Lizzie and Micah. So I think that that's going to be the best thing that he's going to have to, I think he's going to be down for a bit, but I think she's going to pull him back up. I think that is the deciding factor of whether or not he's going to actually, you know, but he has every right to be kind of down for a bit. I mean, like, let's think, you know, Rick lost 2 people that he greatly loved. And with the beginning of season 7, and Daryl was taken from him, and you know, a lot of went down, and it took him like a season, almost a half of the season, to really get back to, you know. So I give Ezekiel a little bit of leeway, and I think he's gonna get back into the game. It may not be, you know, the kingdom is kind of fucked, but I think he'll get back into the fight. And another, so more questions after watching The Walking Dead 805. I understand that the show is different than the comics, so while I asked about potential spoilers with Ezekiel, I will now ask about Eugene with the same use your judgment and what to say. You so want him to be good again, or never have been bad. I would love to hear more about your thoughts on him and where he is going, where you want him to go in the story. Also, unless it is covered before I see this, what do you think that is going on with the helicopter? Okay, so for the helicopter, I don't think that Rick is hallucinating. It would be interesting if he was, but I think some people are thinking that it's Negan and he has helicopters. The only thing that makes me say, like, maybe not is, like, why wouldn't he have used that as a show of force before? Like, as soon as he knew that Rick and company, you know, before the season 7 finale, were, you know, trying to rise up and all that, why wouldn't he just use that, you know, like, have a helicopter swoop in and fuck everybody up or something? You know, like, why wouldn't that just be his show of force? And for him to just be like, you can't win this. Good day. You know, but I think Simon said something about the Flyers, so I mean, maybe, I have no idea, but I think that that would be kind of interesting. Yeah. But I don't know what it could be. It's the garbage people. I bet they just have, you know, like a helicopter stowed away. Just kidding. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I like not being sure, because I genuinely have no idea. So, comic book or not, I don't know. I'm excited. So now I'm just going to, what was the other question? Oh, Eugene. I saved that for last. Because I do weekly chats for The Walking Dead, obviously some of this, you know, a lot of the stuff I'm going to have already covered, so a lot of, with my monthly chats, are going to be kind of questions like this, which is a perfect one, where I can kind of be kind of blunt and just talk to you guys about how I feel about certain things, and you guys can kind of ask, and it'll be a lot of just me answering questions, but elaborating on the things that you actually really want to know, my actual very personal feelings, not the politically correct YouTube version. So, Eugene, my love, my life. Yeah, I want him to not have been bad. It's just, I keep thinking about the time that Eugene said, you know, when he, you know, bit Dwight's dick. Eugene, that, it was interesting because I think, you know, he kind of, when he did that, I felt like, and he kind of had that moment with Abraham where, you know, Abraham, you know, said kind of, welcome to the new life, and he was like, don't worry, I've been here for a while. I want to hope that Abraham's death did not damage him in the way that it seems that they're portraying on the show, and that he really is trying to do his best to survive, but also survive so that he can help people. And I kind of think about the premiere in season 8 where Rick is like, I know who you are. And wouldn't that be interesting if it really, I mean, I don't think so. It sounded very aggressive, but wouldn't it be interesting if that was really Rick in a weird way trying to say, like, I know, and you're trying to help us. This is also wishful thinking, isn't it? I mean, really, I think we're going to find out in the next episode, in episode 7. I think we're going to kind of, I feel like at this point, Eugene is forced to show where he stands. Is he going to give Dwight up? Is he going to help Gabriel? I mean, I'm hoping that maybe we can figure out a way that Eugene and Gabriel escape and get to safety. Or if Gabriel's bit, maybe not. Maybe he won't last that long, but you know what I mean? Like, I would love for that to be, you know. But let's all be very clear. I think Daryl and his little gang of merry women are, like, about to fuck everything. Give me strength, Daryl. I want to still love you. You're trying me. I mean, really. I mean, here's the thing. I totally understand the whole, like, let's go fuck them up, like, whatever. I understand Tara and Daryl really wanting to get revenge on Dwight. I totally understand that. But here's the thing. Here I go. Maggie is dealing with the fact that her husband and father of her child and the love of her life and everything, that was just the best man on the fucking planet, got his head bashed in, and all she wants to do is probably pop all of these motherfuckers in that pen. Like, she probably wants to just, you know, she said it to Daryl, I want to hang them up and watch them die. And that's what she wants to do. But she is holding her inner to make sure that they win, because she even said in that same scene with Daryl, we need to make sure that we win, that we do this smart. We cannot be impulsive. We cannot, because that's just going to end in a whole bunch of anarchy. And whether or not people like it, I'm not a big fan of Dwight. I actually really love him in the comics, and in the show I'm kind of a little, but like, I'm not a big fan of Dwight, but like, let's be clear, he is their like ace in the hole right now. Now, I mean, like, he is on their side in the lion's den, which is more than we can possibly say for Eugene. We don't know. What are you doing? Why do you want to just like go in and kill him and fuck him? Afterwards, there should be a, you know, reckoning or a trial or whatever you want to fucking do for Dwight. But until we actually win some shit, Daryl, it's like, I can't. It drives me insane. So I really hope that he doesn't do something stupid. I tweeted about it, and I was just like, you remember the last time Daryl did something impulsive? Nobody died, right? I can't. And I understand that he's scarred, and so is, I hope that Michonne is like some kind of voice of reason in that card, because I feel like she's the only one who's not, she got beaten pretty badly, but she's not like, you know, Tara and Daryl really going from emotion here. Rosita a bit as well with Abraham, but it's just like, I hope Michonne is just like, hey guys, maybe let's not do this. Let's not fuck up Rick's plan. Like, where Daryl, like, all of a sudden is just like not going with what the plan is and all of that. Anyway, it's just so ridiculous. But like, so, and just another thing, I'll talk about this in my weekly chat, which I'm filming this before that. It's just all weird. But I'll talk about this in my weekly chat. I believe that Rick absolutely meant to get captured. I'm not sure he entirely meant to get his clothes taken away from him, but, you know, I think he meant to get captured. He seemed way too happy about that. I think this is all the plan. There's so many things that are part of the plan, and I think it's a lot of thought went into this. And I don't want anybody to fuck it up. And on that note, I'm about done. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this monthly chat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.